this is a bonus EMC Monday Mastermind. So typically we host these on the second and the fourth Monday of every month. But we, as many of you know, just had our in-person event on Tuesday, June 3rd in New York. Sherri flew out from Ohio to speak to that audience of 120 agents, and she crushed it. Seriously, I can't tell you how many people came up to me afterwards and said they loved learning from her. And so it just felt like a natural progression to bring her back onto Zoom. She's done one of these with us before. And so this is kind of like an encore presentation where we can, especially in this intimate setting, take some time to ask Sherri questions about Goldmine Pipeline and how she's built out this incredible, lead gen system that agents use to double and triple their income. So I'll hand the mic over to you. I know it's going to be a little presentation style, but everyone, please feel free to chime in, raise your hands, like ask questions. This is a small group, which is actually kind of nice because like we can all like really talk about it and get into it and like talk about how to use this in our businesses.
I have a quick question before Sherri jumps in. How many in here have either heard her at our event or speak somewhere else? Is everybody brand new or do you guys know her a little bit? Debbie's got
No.
her hand up. She knows you. And okay, quite a few here. Okay, just to give you some reference, Sherri, so you know who the audience is.
Yeah, and actually, Deb, I invited you. We were in Scottsdale together, so she would like me to do this presentation. I said, I'm giving it on Monday. Come check it out with Colby and Eva's team. And so good afternoon or good morning, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you. And I do have the chat open. I also, if you raise your hand or you just say, hey, I'm going to put a slide deck up in a minute, so I may not see your hand go up, but Colby, Eva, anyone, feel free to just say, hey, Sherri. Like we said, this is a casual environment, but yet I want to get you the information and give it to you so that you can walk out of here today understanding the system. If you're a team leader, if you are an individual agent, the greatest thing about Goldmine Pipeline is it does not matter where your current production is. We've helped people take their teams from 140 to 200 million in less than a year. That's right. We've helped people go from 6 to 60 million in 3 years. We've helped people at every level. So if you are brand new or you're a seasoned pro, you've been in the business 2 months or 20 years or 40 years, it does not matter what your years of experience are, and it does does not matter what your current production is. So Goldmine Pipeline works for everyone, which is what's so great about it. It's not just for new people. It's not just for seasoned pros. It will work wherever you are in your business life cycle, right? Like your entire program. So are you seeing my slides? I think you are, correct.
Yes.
Good. And then now you're seeing actual slides. So what I'm going to do is take you through the pipeline itself and a little bit of before that, just to get you an idea of how to set really what I call 10x goals. When you 10x something, it's way better and bigger than 10% increase, right? 10% increase is on 10 would be 1. A 10x would be 100. So like think about what do you do when you 10x something? It's a lot bigger. It's a lot more impact. And 10 times 10 is 100, and 10 times 10% takes us to 11. So just thinking about the difference in goal setting. I want you to shoot for the moon and land on some stars, right? I'd rather you shoot for making 500,000 than and get to 375 than shoot for 250 and hit 250. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a quick how to set some financial goals in this today, and then also how to get there a lot faster. So real quick, most of you have heard me talk. I've been licensed 29 years, and in Ohio. I am excited to announce I joined DXP about 6 months ago. Prior to that, I have been a speaker, coach, consultant, author. I have represented some big names. I've worked for companies as their preferred coaching company, 4 of the top 5 brands, and we deliver solutions for individual agents, teams, companies, brokerages, etc. I was a top agent for about 10 years. I sold houses, on average about 50 to 75 houses a year without really a team. I was the only person selling. So I know how hard you work. I know what it takes to do this business. So I managed a couple of big offices in Ohio for a company called Howard Hanna Real Estate. And at the end of that career, was an executive with them, managing about 800 agents. Started with 500, managed we were at 500 million and grew it to 2 billion with a B in about less than 4 years. And the reason I'm telling you those stats is that I used the Goldmine Pipeline system with agents just like you and helped train and coach thousands of agents to take their business to double or triple it. So this will take you, a $3 million agent can do 9 or 10 million in a year. Those are the kinds of results we get. It's going to revolutionize the way you look at leads. I hope that this helps you look at leads totally differently than you're used to. Okay. Because I'll get into it in a minute, but typically we tend to think of people as if they're not ready. And so we discount them. And it's in the discounting that you lose those opportunities. Okay. We did come up with the Sherri Johnson Academy. It's pretty amazing. There are about 120 courses on here, from everything from social media to building a referral base to 95%, to listings and working with buyers and everything you could ever imagine. Negotiation obviously is in there, lead generation, how to make 50 grand at your next open house. The list goes on and on. This is the way to connect with me. If you haven't already, you can just download my card, and there are some really great downloads in there, including how to access the podcast, which the podcast is pretty cool. With this one, I just retired. It's about 350 episodes, maybe about 330, 350. We were number 35 on the Apple podcast for marketing. It blows my mind. This podcast alone has helped people sell 5 houses. Like they told me, I've sold 5 houses from listening to your podcast. So take a look at it. I know you will love it. I know you'll get great content from it. There are some interviews on there. The new podcast, the Sherri Johnson Show, is coming out this month, and we'll be sending that out. You can subscribe to that. I have a ton of people lined up for that as well. It's going to be awesome. So I think at the beginning of every session, I want you to realize something. Like, you have to say to yourself, like, did I make any money today? Right? Because the greatest thing about real estate is that it is flexible, right? There go my dogs. So I have to tell everybody, my son is 17. Hey, my son is 17. He's doing an internship with Michael Henry, you guys. So excited, which is EXP team here in Cleveland. Okay, I think everybody's calm. I told him you're going to walk right in the middle of this. Anyway, I apologize. When you look at your watch, when you look at the hour of the day and you say, did I make any money today? Like, did you do things that are producing appointments? Because honestly, we do a lot of busy work that tells us we're busy, and it doesn't add dollars or deals or new listings to the day, does it? So you got to ask yourself, like, am I maximizing the day? Do I need a better plan for optimizing your most efficient use of your day and your time? I think you do. I know you do, actually. I want you to think about the power of one listing, right? When you take one listing, instead of putting it on the market immediately, right, without doing certain marketing and leveraging the neighbors, etc., like, slow it down. Like, you have the ability, especially to fill the pipeline. But the whole idea here is we're going to fill the pipeline with potential business. Every listing you have, we should be turning 2, 3 to 5 sales off of every listing. Okay. And we know that we can fill the pipeline and maximize the pipeline from just one house. I had 5 sales my very first month in the business. Okay. I got my first listing November 14th. I sold it myself on New Year's Day. Okay. At 5 sales in January. And I'm telling you this because of what happened. The actuality of it is that one of the 5 sales came from a Sphere person, and the other 4 came from one listing. I had 4 sales in 1 month from one listing, right? I sold it myself at an open house. They had a house to sell, and I picked up a buyer and sold that buyer something the same month. So I immediately said, this is how you do real estate, right? You literally list houses and you sell houses from them. So if that's not on your list of things to be strategic about, I want you to put it on there today, okay? Because that's going to be leveraging and maximizing every sale. That's where you hear that term, make 50 grand at your next open house. Who would want to make $50,000 from an open house? All of us, right? If you think about it, the open house is like the GOAT lead generator. Except most of us don't see it that way. We think you have to be on social media. We think you have to be on video. Those are great things too. But where I know where you are best face to face is literally doing an open house and sharing with people. That's how you're going to fill the pipeline. Okay. You have to look at this as leveraging and maximizing that one sale. Okay. So when you say, how do I fill my pipeline without having to buy leads? Wouldn't it be nice to not pay referral fees or to not have to pay for a lead that comes through whatever.com, right? What if you just generated your own business, put it on the pipeline, and then had a better strategy for following up with those people? That's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. I always say sales aren't down. Your belief in yourself is. Like, regardless of what's going on, I want you to write down right now, the second half of the year is going to look like this, right? What am I doing differently for the next 6.5 months? You launch this pipeline, and I promise you could actually double what you did the first half of the year in the second half. I've seen it happen, done it myself, right? And I know it works. Like, I know it works because I've watched it and I've seen it happen. We take people, and I'm going to show you how to do this. Probably making one particular agent I'm thinking of in California was making $40,000 a year. We did the pipeline. She now makes $15,000 to $20,000 a month in real estate sales. There's no revenue share in this. I'm talking about just straight up sales. We have to think it into existence. You need a pipeline or you have no business. The roller coaster ride of selling a house and not selling a house can end today. Like, we're going to just do this. I'm going to build your business like this, up, 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 from $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month to $20,000 a month, and so on. Okay. And we do that up to 100 plus a month. But you have to say, am I operating in a scarcity mindset, or what I call crisis selling? The crisis salesperson is running around saying, I only want to deal with the people who know what they're doing right now. If you take a look at the people that you're thinking of that you're going to sell a house to, many of them aren't ready. And I get that. All those not ready people are going to go into the pipeline. We're going to add it up. We're actually going to monetize the value of the entire pipeline of listings and the entire pipeline of buyers. And you're going to feel amazing by the end of this exercise. Okay. When you have an abundant mindset, look at the difference. My gosh, this slide always cracks me up. Like, we tend to think like, I don't have enough A buyers. Well, all of your B and C buyers, the people who are 3+ months out, 3, 6, 9, or 12 months out, or buying or selling in a year, those people will turn into A people eventually. Okay. So let's get out of the, I only want the A, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross leads, all the good leads, right? That was a movie from the 90s. Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross. And if you recall, Alec Baldwin was in that. They only wanted the good leads. So we have a tendency, like, every one of us knows what to do with people who know what they're doing. When you have clients who know what they're doing, it's real easy. They tell you, right? Eva, they call you. They say, we're ready to list our house. You grab your stuff, you go. It's the people that we don't know what, they don't know what they're doing, that we don't know what to do with them. And then we think, well, they're not ready, so I'm not going to have a meeting with them. I'm going to teach you today. You go out and you get a listing appointment, pre-listing appointment with some B and C people on your list. And you're going to not only potentially change their timeline, they might change it on their own, but you will be the one who gets that listing 6 months from now. And let me ask you all this question. How many of you need business in November this year? Right? Who wants to know that you have 4 listings and 4 sales every month from October on into January and March of next year, right? When you play the long game with me, okay, you're going to see that you have all this business backlog. It's like a backlog. You're building a backlog of future business. So right now, I want you to think, what could I do in income if I knew I couldn't fail. I want you to think as crazy and as big as you can. These 3 numbers, you're going to write them down on your piece of paper. What is your must? I have to make this or I'm not doing real estate, right? We all have that number. What is the number you have to make? Now, some people write the actual, like, this is what I have to make to live. And then some people write down the number they made last year and they say, I'm never making less than that because I hit that number. So it's totally personal and it's your call. It's like whatever you want that to be. Okay. The next number goal is great. This is like the number you had before you met Sherri Johnson. Okay. You had a goal to do whatever. Okay. 4 more million, something like that, right? 2 more million. I'm not sure. I don't know your numbers, but this is the number you had before you met me, before today. And the amazing number, okay, is going to be that sky's the limit crazy number that you're going to say, oh my God, you're crazy. I couldn't make that. I'm going to say, put it on there, please. Okay. Now I had an agent, I was in Georgia and a client in Atlanta. I do a lot of consulting with companies and train their managers. And I used to, fly there, and I was at a sales meeting, and a gal there told me, I said, hey, Keisha, what are your numbers for this year? And it was January. And she said, well, Miss Sherri, I'm going to do, last year I did 6.9 million. And this year I'm going to do 9 million. And I said, why so low? And she kind of looked at me weird. And I said, that seems low. And we went in the conference room, and I said, I mean, 6.9 million is 7, right? That's 7 million rounding up. And I said, that's a $2 million increase. You're telling me you have a $500,000 average sale price, and you're only going to increase by 4 units this year? 4 units. And she was like, I never looked at it that way. So I want all of you to think, how do you set your goals? Do you look at it as volume? Do you look, 2 million more seemed impossible. But when I said 4 units over a 12-month period, and then I said, what if you did 1 more unit a month? That would be 12 more units. Her face lit up. She's like, oh my God, this is awesome. I said, well, let's be strategic, right? So we sat down, we recasted her goals. Instead of 9 million, she had a $14 million goal, right? She did 12 million. She did 12 million instead of 9. Because when you don't look at average sale price units, what if you did 1 more unit a month, everybody on this call, right? That's a lot of money. You make $10,000 a deal, it's $120,000. What does another $125,000 do to your life? What's another $250,000 do, for that matter? Okay. So remember, there is a sales process in real estate, and we have a tendency to not remember that everybody is somewhere in the process. They might just be starting out. They might be already aware that they need to move. They might be on a tighter timeline. They might have an immediacy factor, and some don't. Some people are like, I'd like to move. We don't have to. We'd like a bigger house. We want to stay in the same school district. Or we want to downsize, but we're not in a hurry. Again, those are all the annoying clients we have. And I say annoying, they're not annoying people. It's annoying because we don't know their schedule. We don't know their time frame. We don't know how qualified they are, not to buy or sell, but in their, what's your actual timeline, right? The easiest question to ask people is, where do you want to live and when do you want to be there? What's going on in your life in the next 90 to 120 days? Do you need to be moved in, or do you want to do all those things first and then buy and sell a house, right? Asking good qualifying questions, but remembering that the only way you're going to get a lead to go through this whole cycle right here, this conversion process, is by getting an appointment with them. And this is where we kind of, as an industry, are not very good, right? We have contacts, people you know, people you don't know. We turn them into leads. By the minute you realize there's a need for real estate, they might say it, they might not. Once they're a lead, which is really a new client opportunity, you have to add value to get them to work with you, right? And then you need to have an appointment. This is where we kind of mess up. We don't close for an appointment fast enough. And then obviously, once you have an appointment, you're going to write a contract, a buyer contract or a listing agreement, and the rest takes care of itself. And we know this is how it works. But many times opportunities aren't lost. They go to somebody else. Have you ever not followed up with someone because you didn't think they were serious enough? And then you saw the sign in the yard I'm sorry that I'm reminding you of this, okay? It's a baseball bat to the gut, isn't it? Sherri, don't remind me. Now, or you see it in the MLS, also bad, right? Patty came into a sales meeting. Patty came in, this woman, I was her manager. She came in, I looked at her Goldmine Pipeline and I said, what's the deal with these people? She said, well, they had a sign in the yard. Now it's down, that's up, it's down. I said, well, okay, well, you need to get an appointment with these people right away, like next week. Go there, see the house, find a reason to go there. She said, oh, I told them I'd call them in a month. I said, who cares? Just call them anyway, right? I mean, they're not going to remember you said a month. She's like, no, I don't want to be too pushy. I said, Patty, that's a bad idea. Okay. She's like, well, I'm just going to wait. I said, I wouldn't do that. I would call them now. Get an appointment next week. Go see the house. Talk about where they want to buy. She didn't do that. So 2 weeks later, you guys, 2 weeks later, we're at a sales meeting and Kathy announces this new listing, which is, these people's house. And Patty's got whiplash, to tell me. She's like, I go, I know, I recognize the address. And we talk after the meeting, and Patty's not mad at Kathy. She's not mad at herself, really, yet. And she's mad at the seller. And she said, those people lied to me. And I said, no, they didn't. They were just talking, and you believed them. Okay, so we got to stop with the taking people literally thing, number one. Number two, go close the appointment or somebody else is going to, okay? I am the most aggressive person in real estate. I'm just not aggressive towards my clients. There's a big difference, okay? No one has ever said you're so obnoxious. You can be assertive and aggressive and effective and not be obnoxious. I do it every day. I've been doing it for 30 plus years, okay? People actually appreciate it. So Patty said, oh, I wanted them to like me. I said, well, Kathy got the appointment. She got them excited. They listed the house, right? So opportunities don't vanish. They go to someone else. So everybody that you've said, oh, they're not ready, they're going to buy or sell eventually. I want you to be the one that maximizes them, right? When it happens, do you guys really care if it's 12 months from now? No. Like, put them on the list. You have nothing to lose. You're not going to show them houses for 12 or 15 months. It's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting have a better strategy so that you're the one. You're going to fill. Here's what's so great about the pipeline. There are coaches out there that tell you after someone ghosts you 3 times to move on, drop them. Not my strategy at all, everybody. I think that's horrible strategy. Like the cost per lead, hopefully you got them all like without paying anything, right? So if you didn't pay anything, it was just you met them somewhere in the public world, an open house, a referral, whatever. But think about this. I gave this presentation in person and this agent's face was turning red. And I said, her name is Ruby. And I said, Ruby, why are you so mad right now? I can see your face contorting. And she said, well, I'm just thinking about my last coach told me to drop all those people that ghosted me 3 times. And she's adding up what the commissions would have been. Okay. So I want you to say to yourself, what if you had instead of making 350 calls a week, which sounds awful, and you don't have to do that with Goldmine Pipeline. What if you had 75 people, right? What if you had, I don't know, 45 listing leads and 30 buyer leads on the pipeline, and you manage that list? Who likes the sound of that, right? It's a lot easier, right? It's a lot easier. This roller coaster ride is over. Sell a house 1 month, don't sell anything next month. And I'm going to give you the example. When you have 3 people, 3 to 5 people that you're giving all your time and attention to, which I know that's how you operate. Am I right? Are you giving 3 to 5 of your best A people that you consider in the now? These people are ready to go. You're giving them your time and your attention. You're not really nurturing the B and C people probably. They're on a list somewhere, maybe on a whiteboard in your office. I love whiteboards, by the way. But you aren't monetizing the total, okay? When you just focus on those 3 to 5 people, and those 3 people don't happen, you have a 0 month, right? You have a month where you don't have a sale. If those 3 people do happen, well, here's what I know happens. You spend the next 6 weeks following up and closing those 3 deals. you aren't doing any lead gen, and you're not having 3 sales, 4 sales, 5, 6 sales a month, right? So to get to 10 sales a month, to get to 8 sales a month, 6 sales a month consistently, we have to fill the pipeline. So here's what's great. Goldmine Pipeline is going to get you what I call consistent and predictable monthly income. 2 things that never exist in real estate. Am I right? There's never been, you don't have much consistency. Oh my God, it's the worst. And you don't have a whole lot of predictability. Although with this system, you will have a forecast for 2 months out every, like right now, snapshot, right? I can look at the next 2 months, and our coaching clients go from selling, I had one in particular, I'm going to show you hers. She sells $18 to $22 million a year. She wanted to make $1 million this year. She said, what do I have to do? We mapped out the Goldmine Pipeline. She did it. She put, started typing in all the names, pen to paper. In her database alone, with all the leads, she's at literally $57 million pipeline. Okay. She said, I didn't even know I had this. I said, I know. I know this. I already knew this. So I guarantee you have a pipeline that's full. You just don't realize it yet. So if you want to scan this QR code, we'll send it out too. I'll give it to Colby and she can send this out. The one that comes with it is the form to the left. It's a PDF fillable. If you email me, I can send you the Google Sheet. That's amazing because it's going to have calculations in it. It will even calculate your potential income, potential commission income, GCI income, and it's awesome. Okay. So Goldmine Pipeline, it comes with this little book. It's a very quick, easy read ebook that'll remind you of what I'm telling you right now. Okay. Your secret to predictable. And do we want to put this in the chat or did you already do it? Because you're awesome. Colby will probably drop it in the chat.
I can drop it in the chat. Yeah. Give me a sec.
Awesome. Thank you. And so what's going to happen is you're going to be able to, so when I got my license and my dad was like, you may not sell a house for 6 months. And I was like, oh my God, I literally fear of failure. I still have it. I heard Dean Graciosa speak last week in Scottsdale. I had to actually go on after him, by the way. But when he said, I work every day like I'm going broke. Did you guys hear him say that? It was like, I work every day like I'm going to go broke. Dude's a multi-millionaire, probably close to billionaire. He said that. And I was like, I am the same damn way. Like that is literally how I think. So I'm sitting there in my condo. I've got a condo payment, a car payment, a really high shopping habit. I'm 26 years old and it's do or die. I can't wait 6 months for a sale, Dad. I'm sorry. Like that, this will be an epic failure. So I sat in my condo, everybody, and I wrote down every single person that would buy, every single person that would potentially sell with me. And I added it up and I said, what if it all happened? If it all happened, what would my year look like? Could I be a $10 million agent, right? I'm brand new. And I sat there and I wrote it down and I actually have it framed. I have the first one I ever did. It's really funny. It says like 3.6 million. Okay. And here's what happened. I told you I had 5 sales in my first month. So, and then I think I sold 27 houses that year, right? So you can do what I did, which I doubled the second year by putting the system in place. I didn't call it Goldmine Pipeline then. It was just called the pipeline of leads. And here's what I want you to think about. The first page, if you see on my slide right here, it says potential listing clients only, just potential listings. So Lisa and Mike are going to buy and sell from you. They're going to list for $550 and they're going to buy for $850. They go on the pipeline twice, once under listings, once under buyers with an amount. So I know you guys like to, especially some of you have been around a long time. You just write names down, okay? And some of the other, when we see like whatever some of these coaching companies have, it's like the next 8 or the next 10. That's great, except again, it's not a full pipeline. And it's commingled with buyer and seller sides on one sheet. I want to separate them on purpose. So if someone's buying and selling, they're going to go on here twice. Once on the listing page, once on the buyer page. And then we're going to assign it an amount for each one. You're going to add that up. Okay. So I'm going to go with a $500,000 average sale price for my example. Okay. Do we all know, if you had to think, like, if I said right now, who could come up with 10 potential listing leads right now that are thinking of moving between now and 2 years from now? Right? I didn't say 2 months or 6 months. I didn't shorten the time frame. I'm actually making it like 2 years out. From 0 to 2 years out, could we all come up with 10 people? Yes. For sure you could, right? And you could go into your past client database list. You can go into your open house sheets, go through your phone. I'm going to give you quick ways to fill the pipeline this afternoon. 10 of those is $5 million, like just like that. Boom. I got a $5 million pipeline in leads, right? It's $5 million bucks. Okay. Those same 10 people are going to buy from you. We are now at $10 million. Did y'all follow me? 10 buy sides, 10 list sides. I'm going to actually crank that up to 20 in each category. 20 buyer sides, 20 list sides. Okay. 20 times 500,000 is 10 million. And 20 buyer sides at 500,000 average is, I'm sorry, 10 million and 10 million. We're at a $20 million pipeline in 2 seconds, right? Now your problem is you're like, but I don't have all these leads, Sherri Johnson. Where am I going to get them? So your job is to identify ways that you can lead gen to fill the pipeline. I'm going to give you 5 or 6 rapid fire ones today. You can take pictures of them, but you're going to get, like, most of you have 2 to 3 times what you've been doing already in your pipelines. You just don't even know it. That's what's so great about this thing. Your eyes are going to get so big and you'll be like, this is crazy. But just like my friend and client, Diana, who went from, she closes 18 to 22 million a year. She had a $57 million pipeline. Now she's been in the business 18 years. Some of you sound familiar. You're in the business a long time. You've been doing what comes to you. What if we were more strategic and literally put these people on a plan? This is your plan. Okay. You don't have to buy anything. This thing is just a strategy. It doesn't, I mean, you should have a CRM, but this doesn't require a CRM. You can just work this list. Okay. So I want you to put an A, B, or C next to each of these leads. A being the next 60 days. Like they're going to do something in the next 60 days, buy or sell in the next 60 days. B is going to be up to 3 months, 90 days. And then C is going to be anything, over 6 months. Okay. So I'm sorry. B is up to 6 months. B is up to 6 months. C is over 6 months. Okay. Or you don't know. And what's going to happen is, so I built this and I have like a $10 million pipeline. I was like, I can sell 10 million because I have it on paper. When you see it on the paper, you're going to say, oh my God, if you're at 40 million right now or 30 million in sales, you probably have a 50 or $60 million pipeline. That's how this works. By the way, we see, typically speaking, that we close 85% of what's on the pipeline. That sort of factors in the people who get pushed off to next year or whatever, okay? Or don't happen. Most happen though. Because now you're going to follow up with those people. You're never going to miss an opportunity again. This is like the Alaskan pipeline, right? Goes on forever. The Alaskan pipeline goes on forever. You can't even see it. Your pipeline is going to go on into 2026. Does that make sense? Who doesn't want to go into January with $5 million of closings, pendings? Like, I want that for you. You can make that happen right now. We're going to start this right now. So this particular format, you need to put the amount in, the name, the amount, the time frame, the community. Even if you don't know the people, like I had some guy say to me, Sherri, my neighbor wants to sell her house. Now we are in downtown Chagrin Falls with dogs across the street by the Starbucks. There's no way I'm getting the neighbor's name. That would be weird, right? So he's like, hey, can you help my neighbor move? And I said, yes, I'll text you, right? Now, we all know what happens. You forget to text, you forget all of it, right? And then what happens? You go into Josh's neighborhood, you see the house, and you're like, I think that was supposed to be my referral. And that's another not good situation, right? So I don't know this woman's name. As a placeholder, I want you to put on the Goldmine Pipeline Josh's neighbor under name. 650, Canyon Lakes. Now who do I remind myself to call? right? The referring person. So these opportunities that we just keep falling through the cracks are going to stop falling through the cracks. I promise you. You're going, the slide's in here twice. On page 2, potential buyers, same thing. Okay. Now, sometimes I have people, they have 22 buyer sides and 3 listings. Okay. We have a tendency to mentally just do what the client is doing first. So if they're going to buy first, do they have a house to sell? You have to look at each client and say, did they come up with 2 sales or 1? Some people have 3, right? They're buying, but they're buying together, they're selling 2 properties. So in that case, they would have 2 listing sides and a buy side, right? Always ask. I mean, like, you have to look at it yourself and say, these people are going to buy and sell, they go on twice. There's 2 sales, right? For every potential client, typically there's 2 sales, unless you're working all with first-time buyers. So I said to this guy, Brad, I go, 22 buy sides. Do any of these people have a house to sell? And he said, yeah. Like, I said, how many? He was like, half of them. I said, well, all 11 of those half need to go on the list side also, right? It was like another $4.5 million he didn't even realize he had. So don't get in the blind spot of like only dealing with, like, if you have a lot of listings and you didn't account for their buy side too, make sure you've accounted for both sides, because most of the time you're getting 2 sales unless someone's relocating, right? Or they're coming to you from out of state, or they're a first-time buyer coming out of rental. But you want to make sure you ask yourself that question, okay? Once you put everybody on here, page 3 is going to account for any current listings you have that have a contract on them. So let's say you have $6 million in listings right now. Awesome. We want to account for that $6 million. And maybe there's, that's 7 listings or 3 listings or whatever you have. Below that are the current pendings. Okay, so when you get to the top right of the slide, this is page 4, we are going to add up all categories: potential buyers, potential listings, all your current closings, all your current listings, and then what you've closed year to date. So if I have a $20 million pipeline of buyer leads and listing leads of 20 million, and then I have 6 million on active listings, I'm at 26 million. If I have 3 million in pending, I'm at 29 million. And if I've already closed 5 million, right? Let me think about this. I am at a $34 million pipeline. Is that pretty cool? If everything were to happen today, and today was the last day closing for everybody, your total potential would be 34 million. Now, I would take 85% of that, and you're going to end up around $28 million in potential business. How can you not feel like the amazing rock star that you already are, right? Because you are. Now, I followed up with people for 11 months. Hey, it's Sherri Johnson, calling EXP. Hey, Sherri Johnson. Hey, I sent you an email with some great listings. Let me know if you want to see them this day or this day. Nothing. 11 months of nothing. Not a squeak. Not even an email response. Not a text response. Nothing. I even was laughing and I said, hey, let me know if you want me to stop calling you. And then I said, I'll still call you anyway, probably. And then I laughed and said, I don't know if you're getting this. I don't know if you got this message. I don't know if you're getting any of my messages, but hey, when you're ready, I'm still here. Click, right? I hang up. Now, in the 11th month, which weirdly happened to be November, met these people from an open house. And they said, hey, it's Camille Kwan. Do you remember us? I said, yes. Of course, I remember you've been calling you. They said, we'd love you to come and list our house. We're ready. I get to the house. They're like, we know 12 real estate agents. And we're going with you because your follow-up is amazing. I said, whoa, okay. Now here's what happened. They knew 12 agents. They said, we're going to go with you. And oh, by the way, the reason we're choosing you is because we want an agent who we know will follow up with every single lead. And obviously you do that, right? And I was like, whoa, I didn't even know that was part of my marketing strategy, but guess what? It was, and it became part of my talk track when I went on every listing, right? I follow up with every lead, so much so that people hire me for it. All right. Now here's what happened. They bought and sold, and 18 months later, they called me and said, we're ready for a bigger house. Now, is that worth, how long did it take me to call those people twice a month? Nothing. I mean, it took me no time to do general, obvious, easy follow-up. Okay. The fortune is in the follow-up. These, of
Sherri, I want to jump in for a second.
course,
So two things that come to mind for me, and I'm sure probably true for a lot of people on the call, right? We have lists, lots of them, maybe not as neat and perfect as this one, but we don't always have that routine to follow up properly. And I'm guessing that's where you're going. So just want to mention
yeah,
that's really important to me. And then secondly, I hear you. Like I've said to people, I've left messages, you know, just let me know so I can stop calling you, that kind of a thing.
right.
But like sometimes even I feel like, what can I possibly say to these people? Like I feel like if I'm not bringing some kind of value or some kind of something to the
Yep.
call, it does make it harder for me to make the call. So any creative thoughts
Yes.
around that you've used to kind of keep your like energy and juju going with these people?
Yes. Absolutely. And it's adding value. So we have to give them value, and then they'll set an appointment with you. So now we have a lot of value we can bring, right? We can give them a home buyer guide. And so for 29 years I've been preaching the use of an exclusive home buyer guide that has everything you need about buying a house. These are hooks that are value added that help people say, "Oh wow, that's really great." And it's free, obviously. The working with me part is not free, but I'm going to sit down, go through the process with you, right? This is a process that takes time. I realize you're not ready to buy. And my favorite phrase is, I work at your pace and your speed, whether that's immediate or, just starting out and gathering information. In fact, the easiest way, again, to ask somebody where you are in the process is to say, where do you want to live and when do you want to be there? I work at your pace and your speed, right? And your timeline. And I like to give, people work really well with anecdotal stories, right? So when you think about an anecdotal story of, I say to you, Eva, you're my client, you're my potential client, and I say, whether you're moving quickly, your needs are immediate, or you're just starting out gathering information. I have clients who their house is already sold, they're moving here from out of state, or their lease is up, right? And I'm showing them houses almost daily and weekly because they need to buy one. And then on the other side of the spectrum, right, I have people who are living in a house, they want to be in the same school district, they're not in a hurry, they have no urgency, but they want to move. Where do you fall within that? Would you help me help you by telling me where you fall in that spectrum? So one of my favorite lines, and I used it in all my marketing, was no pressure, just results, which honestly summed up how I did everything in 4 words, right? No pressure, just results. And if you like that, take it, use it. A lot of people, like when they give me their business card, they're like, I stole that. It's on my card. I'm like, awesome. I want you to use it. No pressure, just results. So here's what I do. I say to them, whether this takes 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years, I'm not going anywhere. I build relationships, Eva, on trust and confidence, and I want to be a real estate agent for life. And that of your friends and family members and coworkers, right? So you can immediately start out by saying, it's important that we have a first meeting. Here's how I work. We're going to set, like that home buyer guide is the listing tool, right? I want to come to your house. I'd like you to show me around. The scripts I use to get an appointment, to add value, to get an appointment are phenomenal because they're value added. Eva, you mentioned upstairs, I'm in an open house, let's say. You mentioned upstairs you're going to be, doing some things to your house. You've been there 10 years. You need me at the front end of the process, actually. I add a lot of value at the beginning of the process. And I work with clients for weeks or months before we put a sign in their yard, and I can do the same thing for you. Part of what I do is come over and tell you what materials, what late remodeling and staging we can do to bring a higher sale and a faster sale and a higher ROI, right? That slate floor, and I give an example every time. I say the slate floor in your back hall. You're probably thinking about ripping that out. I'm going to tell you today's buyers love slate, and we're going to keep that and use that money somewhere else in your house for a faster sale, or even better, keep it in your pocket. So you need me now. I know it sounds crazy, but this is a process. And I realize you just told me you want to sell it, in 6 to 9 months. That's totally fine. We can talk about that, but I'd like to come over so you can show me the house so I can save you time and money. Who doesn't want to save time and money? Second reason I want to come over, and we can do this at another mastermind in the next few months, but this is like how I get appointments at an open house. The second reason I want to come into your house, Eva, is that I just took down all your search parameters. and it helps me to see your current home. When I see my client's current home, now I'm out looking for a house for you, and I know what you like, what you don't like, the things you can't live without, the things you never want to see again. And I just took all that down. I'm out looking for a house for you, right? So I want to be able to call you from my cell phone in a house and say, Eva, I can't believe this. This house has the thing in the laundry room that you want, and the garage, and the thing in the kitchen. And I'll have already seen your home, right? So it adds value to the home buying process for me to see my client's current home. And the third reason I want to come and see your house is that between now and the time we actually put a sign in your yard, because I'm listing it, right? Between now and the time that we put a sign in your yard, I may have a buyer that would be perfect for your home, and I will have already seen your property. So I get it. You're not ready to move, but for the right price and the right terms, and if I was able to find you your next home, we could time this whole thing out. Wouldn't it be great to have your home sold? And everybody always says yes to that. It's a yes, no question on purpose. And so at the end of any of those three, getting an appointment with someone when they're not ready, we're sitting around waiting for them to ask us for an appointment. Don't you feel like that? It's like you're waiting for them to ask you. You can add value to get the appointment. And then here's how you tie it down. Like you literally tie down the appointment with, where is that? It's a later slide, but here's how you tie it down. You say, great, Eva, what's better for you Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10? And you give them what I call, write this down, the 2-option tie down, the 2-option, right? I'm giving you 2 days, 2 different times. In fact, it's kind of strategic. Weekday evening, weekend morning. Like one of these combinations should work for them. I get more text messages. I mean, there's a lot of great Sherri Johnson lines. This works. And it's because we're meeting. It's not if, it's just when, right? I've added value and now I can close it. Okay. I'm going to come back to this and give me 2 seconds. I know we're at 2:50. Your job is to fill this thing up, right? I'm going to show you a couple ways. Now, if you're not able to fill it up, you might need new material, right? Like new material, like what you say, what you give people. If that sounds like something you might, maybe do coaching, maybe go find some podcasts or find a person that you can mentor or someone that's your trainer, coach, whatever. You can use my stuff, whatever works. Here's that $54 million pipeline that that agent had. This is just like unbelievable. GCI, by the way, of 1.5. Pretty cool. She's at an 80% split. No cap at this particular company. Kind of scary, but 1.2 in potential sales. So that's pretty cool. Now, again, your job, right, is to fill this. You need 1.5 times what you want to sell. So when you look at those goals you made on the dollars, and you divide, let's say I want to make 500 grand, I make $10,000 a deal. I need 50 sales, right? 50 times 1.5, I need 75 leads on the pipeline. 1.5, yeah. So 50 plus 25 is 75. I usually had about 100. When I had my best years, I had like 100 to 120 leads on the pipeline, buyer and sellers combined. And I would sell 75 houses. Okay. 1.5 times. That's the magic number. Okay. And then lastly, that's the example of 36 sales. Probably going to sell more than that too. You'll sell about 40 to 50 sales. And I have a class called How to Sell a House a Week, right? That's 52 sales a year. It's pretty cool. So we need business. We know this. That a lot of people are like, oh my God, I'm obsessed with Goldmine Pipeline. Yeah, you should be. You should be, because it's your future income is sitting on this document. Okay. Jane had 3 things in the pipeline and nothing else. And none of them came together. None of them. I won't bore you with the story. It's a bad one. None of them came together, you guys. She lost 2 listings and the buyer went and bought direct for 500. And she cried in my office. 15-year veteran, right? She did the pipeline, totally changed her life. The unrealized business that you have right now. Mary came to me. She said, I have no business. I'm a loser. She did about $4.5 million a year. And I said, how many people? She goes, I have 4 buyers. I said, okay. How many people do you have that want to sell? She said, oh, I have a ton of those. I said, okay, what's a ton? She said, at least 25. I said, would you please go fill this form out? By the way, are the 25 people moving out of state? She said, no, they're all staying here. None of them are moving out of state. What's 25 times 2? 50 plus the 4 she walked in. She had 54 pieces of business. Didn't even know it because she's like, well, none of them are asking me to come over. I said, I know they're not going to. Like, you have to initiate getting those appointments. By the way, it totaled 12.5 million. She had a $230,000 average sale price. Get this. She did $8.5 million that year from 4.5. She went to 8.5. Okay. So when you map this out, you're going to close more business because you're not going to let anything fall through the cracks. You can be hyper strategic and proactive about it instead of waiting for people to show up who want to do something right now. We don't have enough of those people. They show up. Sometimes the referral happens from a client comes in a blue Tiffany box, the white bow on it, and we're like, yay, Colby, it worked. I got one, but we don't have enough of those to make $300,000 or $500,000, right? So we gotta go make the rest of it happen. Here are some quick ways to go get to fill the pipeline. Okay. Like literally just jump in and fill the pipeline. Eva, how long have you been in the business? 25 years?
17.
Okay, 17 years. You've got a book of business. You've got a book of clients, right? All of us do. I want you to take your book of business. Okay, all of us. Even if you've been in the business 3 years, whatever amount, doesn't matter. I have clients who are 3 years in the business. They do this, they get business from it. Go through your client list and circle the names of the people who you're like, I need to call this person. They might be moving in the next 2 years. Right? Let's, instead of saying it has to happen right now, open up our brain to now to 2 years. Okay. And take their name off of the past client list, put them onto Goldmine Pipeline. Now you're going to call them. This works unbelievably well. Okay. I want you to go through your entire phone, you guys. You have unengaged leads in your text messages. Would you not agree with me? You have people that if you go back 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, I'm sitting in, I helped a team. I coached this team from 140 to 200 million. Okay. And here's what happened. If you have teams, anyone with a team, Sandy said to me, we're never going to get to 200 million. I said, yeah, we are. Like, that's done. And she's like, you're so confident. I said, well, we just gave everybody the Goldmine Pipeline today. When we add them up tonight and tomorrow, you'll see what I'm talking about. 15 people had the Goldmine Pipeline. You had to do like 10 million to stay on her team. Columbus, Ohio. And we added them up. We had $231 million on the pipeline of everybody's pipeline. Okay. Now, if you're a team leader right now, you don't know what's on your agent's pipeline. And aren't you kind of sort of sick of always having to give them leads? Like they should be bringing in 3 to 5 million themselves. Okay. That's part of the deal. All right. So give them the pipeline, put all 8 people on your team on the pipeline. You're going to flip out. I just did this with a team in Baltimore. They had done, Michael, I'll tell you, Michael Henry's team here at EXP in Cleveland, they did $49 million last year. When they all did the pipeline in January, it was over $90 million of potential business. Okay. You can't go wrong. Fill the pipeline. Please go through your text messages. This girl on that team in Columbus said, I just got a text from someone that said the hardwood floors are done. She goes, I had to go look their phone number, but I didn't even know who it was. I said, were they on the Goldmine Pipeline? She said, no, but they are now. Okay. She had a $30 million pipeline. It was a 650 listing. Hardwood floors are. Go find those text messages. I guarantee you're going to add people to the pipeline. Okay. Open house, please. I mentioned this one. Open house registration logs from the last 6 months. Pull them out, circle with a highlighter. Put these people on your Goldmine Pipeline. And then I will tell you too, like the 20-minute text sprint is fabulous. You just start texting people. We had an agent that we coached on in a team, actually a whole company in Houston. And Shauna she sent out 35 texts. She has 4 contracts from 35 text messages. Okay. You have to follow up with people. 80% of the sales are made after 5 contacts. And we're giving up after half of us are giving up after the first call. because we think they're not ready right now. Okay. We want the right now people. Listen, no one comes off the gold mine pipeline. Okay. But their motivation to buy or sell might go up, down, hot, cold, in, out, like Katy Perry. Remember that song? I mean, it's literally, they are going to be, they're emotionally, humanly, they're emotional humans. Yes, their plans change. They had something unexpected happened at work or with a health issue or whatever. Okay. Yes, we want to distill it down to the people who know what they're doing. But in the meantime, all those other leads are really good leads. I want you to use the time and realize, and this I think goes to what Eva's talking about. Like, what do you say when people are like, they're not responding or the not right now rule is just that. Okay. It just means not right now. Okay. Just put it on the back burner. Timing might not be right, right? Always get the next appointment. Like, even if you show somebody houses and they didn't like 2 or 3 of them, you know how hard it is to re-engage someone who's not in flow with you, has the next appointment with you? It's harder, right? This guy, Don Yoakum in Dallas, he said to me, we're either progressing or regressing. And it's true, because I always tell people, get the next appointment. My hairdresser does. Like, she's got to make sure she has money sitting in a chair. That's sales for her, right? So you have to say to somebody, Colby, I know these 2 houses didn't work for you today, but this was really helpful for me because you showed me a lot of things you like about houses, things you don't like. I'm going to have some other properties to show you. Is Thursday next week still a good time? Right? Would Thursday next week be really good for you? Right? And what she's going to say is, yeah. And then you say to yourself, I don't know, I'm showing this person. But you don't have to know. You can actually figure that out next. Okay. But now you have an appointment instead of trying to run after this person for an appointment. Okay. Sometimes better just park the conversation, right? Or ask better questions, ask leading questions. That's what happens. I think that's why we don't get that next appointment. I'm going to tell you, this is the 20-minute text sprint. You can take a picture of this. You just sit and text people. Okay. And ask them a question in the text. What are you doing for the holiday? What did you do for the holiday? How was your weekend? When can we get together for breakfast? But I had a guy, he sent this out and he said, do you want to get together for a drink or breakfast? A drink or coffee? Hit 55 responses. Okay. What could
Sherri,
Yeah.
one of the things that I send out sometimes is, hey, I just drove by, or just in your neighborhood made me think of you, even if
Yes.
I was nowhere near their neighborhood.
Correct.
Always
Correct.
gets a response.
And it always gets a response. And look, people like text because they can write you back whenever they want. I don't want you negotiating deals on text, but I know this. If you ask a question or on social media, you write them something and not just like their story, but say, hey, your trip looks great. When can we get together? When can I see you? When can we talk? You're getting people to initiate a conversation with you. You can book appointments on text and social media, all the ways. Okay. This works. It works really, 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 really well. Now, I'm going to tell you too, your success is contagious. So once you start this, it's going to be a lot easier to say, oh my gosh, I have 5.8 million in listings. I have, 12 million in buyers, whatever the combination is. You are going to be like, I am a rock star. I have done this. I've watched people go from 7 to 14 million, myself included, in 1 year. I have watched people literally triple their business. You met Rebecca. They went from 32 to 84 million in 11 months. They each made $1 million. They came to me. They said, we just want to make 500. We're making 350 right now. Can we make 500? I said, done. In the 3rd month of coaching, you guys, I had to recalculate their numbers. I said, you're actually going to make 750 to $1 million. They're like, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm not. We also raised their average sale price. So you have to say to yourself, like, what is in my pipeline? I guarantee you're going to be shocked by it. I know you will be. Okay. And number 2, wouldn't it be nice to look at the next 2 months and say, because on one of the charts, I didn't cover this, but on one of those last charts, page 4, you just look at A, all the A people. Wouldn't you like to be like, Sherri, I should have this happening for June for listings and buyers, and in July, this happening. Not closings. I'm not talking about closings. We all get so excited. I have 7 closings. Okay. Well, where are the next 7 coming from? Because right now you don't have 7 new pieces of business. You're in defense mode, closing those deals. I get it. You still have to do that. But you should always be thinking about your next deals and the ones that are coming, not just the ones that, this really great mentor of mine, and then I'm going to get off here. He said to me, "Did you just sell something?" And I said, "Yes, I had a sale. I was selling printing for my parents' printing company." And literally, he goes, "Great. Stop celebrating and go make 10 more calls." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he said, "Your enthusiasm's high. Your confidence is high. Like, you just won. You just had a sale. Go make 10 more calls." I'm going to tell you all to do the same thing. Here's a coupon. If anybody wants coaching, we're happy to help you. I promise you the same results. Our agents get, 150 minimum increase in income from 12 months of coaching, one-to-one coaching with us. I'm very proud of that. Some reach over 200,000. It's pretty cool. We also have the monthly subscription. You can check this out. This is for Playbook, which just gets you into the Sherri Johnson Academy. And then Playbook Plus gets you the Academy of videos, 100 videos, plus 1 live group coaching session a month within a group. So that's $99. There's no contract. You can cancel anytime. No big deal. And then lastly, if you want a free coaching call with me, I've given this out to all of you at the event. If you weren't at the event, you still qualify to have a free coaching call with me or Lee on my team. We have, this is great. You can actually do your pipeline and bring your pipeline to this call. We've had a bunch of people do that, and we coach you on how to get appointments with the people on your pipeline. So you can book that anytime. You can do it 2 weeks from now. Calendar books up pretty quickly. And again, we just have so many great success stories. This gal went from 3 to 9 million. She's selling about 100 units right now out of Pittsburgh. Unbelievable success story. She did go from 3 to 9 in 1 year. It's nuts. And then here's Rebecca, who you guys met. And I know, again, that your success will create more success, because that's just what happens. Like, it literally snowballs, and it is contagious. I think if you haven't done the pipeline, right, and you say to yourself, well, first of all, I know that once you do the pipeline, you're going to say, wow, I have way more business than I knew that I had. And I think that's the biggest aha moment everybody has. So everyone on this call, schedule the 20-minute call with me, do the pipeline. Make sure if it doesn't say Sherri Johnson, just kick it back to us at URock at Sherri Johnson and say, "I'd like to have my call with Sherri." She said I could do that. I will make sure I'm on your call and we can look at your pipeline. And I promise you, you're going to say, "Oh my gosh, like, I have 30, like, if you want to get to 30 million, you want to break 25 million, you're plateaued, you've been doing the same book of business." People hear me talk and they go, if I just did one thing that you said to do, I could probably grow another 5 to 10 million. Yes. Goldmine Pipeline is going to give you that edge up to make sure you don't miss leads and that you actually map out your success. It's awesome. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Do you love it? Aren't you glad you heard the whole thing now? It's like, it's so much easier when you hear the whole thing. But yeah,
I was on mute. I was just saying, no questions, but thank you so much. I don't know if anybody wants to follow up. I know that Colby will be sending out an email like she always does with a recording. Sherri's contact info, if that's okay. Which
absolutely,
that's a silly question. Your contact information is everywhere.
Everywhere. And who's going to do Goldmine Pipeline? Like, I see a bunch of you, and some of you are blurred, but Elisa, are you going to do pipeline? I mean, you should do it. Every one of us should do it. Print it, do it. You want the version that's on a Google Sheet. You do not have to create your own. You do not have to start from scratch with an Excel spreadsheet. I have one. I'll send it to you. You guys are part of Every Move Collective, and you're part of the family. So I will send that to you, and let's get the pipeline full, and then let's go out and get appointments with those people on the pipeline. And I'm here to help you. And again, if you want coaching, great. If you just want to hear my content, I'll be back for another episode of something. I'm sure we'll do.
Yeah, well, you got to keep us posted on the podcast, or what did you say, launching the podcast?
Yeah.
You can go listen to the retired one. It's available. And I can't.
I wrote it down. I'm going to do that because I haven't done that yet.
You'll love it. And I just jump right in. Everyone always tells me there's no fluff. That's what they love about my talks. I just get right to it, and there's no platitudes here. This is real. This happens, and this will take your business to a whole nother level. You'll get the work-life balance you've always wanted, and better yet, it deserves. So we'll make it happen. I just see a bunch of people just downloaded the pipeline, and I see some appointments. So awesome.
Excellent.
I'm glad I can help. I'll see you guys soon.
Thank you. We
Awesome.
owe you a call for other
Perfect.
things regarding Goldmine Pipeline, so we'll follow up with you as well.
Sounds good. Thanks, Eva. Thanks,
Bye.
Dylan.
Everybody, thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Guys
Thank
soon.
you. Pansy, I'll call you from